Let's get into it.
When my dad was around 50, he got an African Grey.
Ooh,
He
my
always
cousin
loved
has
parrots
2 of
his whole
those.
life, so I was happy for him to get one after his retirement.
Those are cool
He
birds.
named the bird Kevin. My dad taught Kevin a whole vocabulary of words, and he actually trained him to understand the meaning behind certain words, like hello, what's up, food, thank you, good, and a few.
These birds live for a while, by the way, and they are very good at talking. The ones that my cousin have, they used to mimic the sound of the Xbox 360 turning on. They're incredible at it. It's crazy.
My dad passed away at 70, and with that came the time to figure out amongst my siblings and I what would happen to Kevin. My brother and sister didn't want the responsibility of taking Kevin into their homes, plus their spouses were against it too. But I couldn't bear the idea of giving him away to a new home. Kevin was and is one of my last connections to my dad. In a sense, that was his best friend.
Hey, the eyes
So
are
I
crazy.
decided I would take him into my home.
He looks
I
crazy,
put his
though, I
cage
ain't
in
gonna
the
lie.
den of my house. My house doesn't have a basement, so the den is considered the lowest level of the house. Kevin is a moderately noisy bird. He can be a chatterbox some hours of the day, usually earlier on. But later in the day and at night, he quiets down. When he's too noisy, I'll throw a blanket over his cage, and that normally quiets him down. I watch TV in the
I'm gonna be honest, though, I don't like the idea of keeping birds in cages. That's just cruel. You might as well just keep them outside, you know what I'm saying?
night to keep him company.
Keeping a bird in a cage
And
is
around
crazy.
10, I'll migrate to my room to let him go to sleep. That's pretty much the backstory behind Kevin. I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, so I know exactly how he behaves and when he's acting out of the ordinary. Speaking of out of the ordinary, there was one night in December around 11 p.m. that Kevin started making sounds while I was trying to sleep. I sleep with the door open since I live alone and need to be able to hear anything if something's going on in the house. Hearing him making his squawking noises past dark, especially this late at night, was unusual beyond doubt and something was irritating him. I went down to the den to see what was bothering him. He was wide awake on the lower perch of the 2 in the cage. He looked at me and was saying things like hello and what's up and his name. All the while he was nodding his head up and down, moving his whole body in the process as if he were dancing.
Fuck that.
I tried to feed him, but he didn't eat, so I covered him with the blanket, hoping he would stop. I was in the kitchen when I stopped inside, because he was still making the noises, and I had a feeling he wasn't going to stop. Having work the next day, I couldn't afford to lose sleep because of him. I really didn't know what to do. I'm still to this day not exactly a bird expert. I went back downstairs and uncovered him. He was still doing his little dance, bobbing his head and body and making his distressed sounds. It didn't click with me until thinking I heard something in the pantry closet a few feet away from his cage. I walked over to it and hovered my hand over the light switch to the pantry, which was
Absolutely not. We don't do that. We'll go lay back down and act like you didn't hear it.
outside of the door.
Even if you got
The door
work.
has one of those big glass panels that many pantry doors have, so when I flicked the light switch, I saw the outline of a body on the inside. My fight or flight response kicked in, and I chose fight. I opened the door screaming, trying to get my adrenaline rushing, and I grabbed the man in the pantry closet out and threw him to the floor. He tried to fight back, but I easily overpowered him.
What?
And had him in what I could best describe as a chokehold. He was a 50-something-year-old homeless-looking man with a smell to match it. I yelled at him, "Who are you? Why are you in my house?" He tried grabbing my face to possibly gouge my eyes or something, but I continued to wring his neck and punch him. During all of this, Kevin was going berserk in his cage. When the man on the floor seemed weak enough, I literally sprinted for the nearest phone and came right back and kept him on the ground while I called 911.
Fuck that.
The man was taken to jail, but he had no ID on him, nothing. He was homeless and had nothing to his name, and as such he...
Absolutely not. 100% not. That's a big no-no. That's actually some scary shit. You just open a pantry and a fucking homeless man's there?
was considered
Come on!
judgment proof, meaning even if I tried to sue him, I wouldn't get anything from him. He had raided my pantry closet that night and had opened jars of peanut butter, boxes of cookies and crackers, and all sorts of other boxed and canned foods.
Sick!
If it weren't for my dad's parrot, I don't know what else that man would have taken or done in my house. I'm grateful for Kevin, and I like to think part of my dad is watching over me in that.
That's why you gotta keep the toolie. Keep the toolie in the crib. That's a big no-no.
This story takes place when I was a junior in high school. For context, here's a little background information. Back in the day, I was a pretty involved student, took all the hard classes, and was in a few varsity sports.
Back in the day.
In one of these ways, I was always busy and didn't have much time for myself, and part of me was thankful for that. It provided me an escape from a world where my parents had recently parted ways and my older brother had just gone to college. It was just me and my little brother then. He also was a swimmer and a smart kid in his own right. We were really similar, even to this day. But probably because of the stresses our family situation put on us at the time, we didn't get along, or at all. One of those wet winter days in the Midwest, I'd put in my time at school and swim, and I still had to sit down for several hours of homework. This time I had to write an essay for some advanced class that I wasn't really interested in. I dropped my swim bag at the door when I got home and looked around my house to see if anyone was home. Empty. Dad must be out with Reese at swim practice. His club team had
Bro, where are we in the Ozarks?
High school team was done. I popped in a mouthful of Cheez-Its
Fucking Ozarks.
and headed down to the basement to my office to get some schoolwork done.
Creepy
The house
ass
was a
office.
middle-class two-story with an unfinished basement.
That shit
with
is
the exception of
uncanny
what I
as
referred to
fuck.
my office. From a career past, my dad used to work from home, but
I
no
hate
longer
that
did.
lighting too. That
I
lighting
was the
is
only one who
creepy
used
as
this
fuck.
place, so my family, or what was left of it, just called it Quinn's office. So I made my way across.
Don't
the
nobody
concrete
called it
floor
that shit.
and unattached carpet samples down there to the one finished-out room in the basement. I flicked on the CFL light. It was like any other night after practice. I still had hours of homework to do. So I turned on the computer and started typing away. I was typing for what seemed like an hour, trying to bring to words to what the concept of hedonism and the picture of Dorian Gray meant to me as best I could.
What
or
does
as
that
convincingly
even
as I
mean?
could. Out of the dark, I heard my little brother call out to me, Quinny, come up." Almost reflexively, I called back to him, "Reese, I'm working, what do you need?" We would yell through the house like brothers do, but it took me a minute to realize I didn't hear him come home. I got no response, only for a couple minutes though. Again, I heard my little brother's voice sing out, Quinny, come up." It felt strange hearing those words carry across the dark, concrete floor. He's supposed to be at swim practice. I called back out to him, asking if he needed anything, but again, I received no answer. I thought about just starting my essay again, but the family situation was delicate at best, and I didn't want to be in trouble if my little brother actually needed something. I made the decision to get up and go find out for myself. I bounded up the basement staircase, the only way a high schooler can, and I called out again for my brother. "Reese, what's up? I'm really busy." I checked all around the main floor looking for my little brother, or even signs he was home. No shoes, no backpack, so he wasn't home, and there was no car in the driveway either.
Oh, nah.
The only reason my dad would be gone right now would be to pick him up. Satisfied, I turned back for the stairs.
Why is the
I
lights
heard my little
always
brother's
off?
voice ring out, Quinny, come up." This time, every hair on my body stood on end. It just didn't make sense. He had to be at practice, and if he really needed me, he would have come to me. I go to the base of the second floor stairs and called out to him one more time. "Reese, what's going on? Are you okay?" For a minute, no answer. "Reese, I'm really busy. Can you tell me what's up?" It's quiet for way too long as I stared up the dark staircase. Logically, I had no reason to believe anyone was up there, until I heard Reese's voice calmly speak this time and not call out in his sing-song way those same 4 words. Quinny, come up." "What?" I asked under my breath. I couldn't comprehend the situation.
I'm not
I did
fucking
quick
with this.
inventory of any probable scenario. Break-in, wrong voice. A prank? I would have seen something at this point. It had to be Reese, and maybe helping him would make me a good brother. So I began up the stairs. My heart pounded with each step, and I was about to make the landing to the dark second floor. Then I heard the buzz of the garage door motor. I ran back down the stairs and looked out the window. It was my father's sedan, and him and my little brother got out. I stumbled from the window to the hall where they would enter, and I felt my heart almost stop beating. I
Yikes.
collapsed on the floor and just started to cry uncontrollably.
What the fuck? Okay, I wasn't expecting these type of stories. I thought it was gonna be some like goofy ghost stories. These are some like kind of real life, could be possibility. Like, why are we?
This was like
I might have
15
picked the
years
wrong
ago.
video because I'm actually locked
I
in.
was with my best friend Jackson at some abandoned family resort or bungalow colony type
An
place in New
abandoned
York.
family resort. Come
It
on,
was off
bro.
a main road and then down a private dirt path driveway entrance. and it was a rather large property with a bunch of old abandoned buildings, including at least 10 small bungalows, a main hall, a few
What's a
bathrooms,
bungalow?
and an indoor pool house. Along with that was an outdoor pool, a shuffleboarding area, and a kid's playground. Everything was old, run down, and with tall, overgrown grass growing over it. We found this place accidentally one time walking down Route 209, but we didn't explore it that day.
You shouldn't
We
be
came back
there.
Another night. By the time we went, it was
Especially
past sunset.
not at night.
The sun
like,
was
why?
kissing the sky goodnight. It was getting very dark, but we didn't want to come during the day in fear of getting caught and getting charged with trespassing. We brought along walkie-talkies and flashlights with us to communicate to each other when we'd split up. We started looking around the bungalows together. Most of them looked the same and were relatively small. 1 or 2 beds each, a small kitchen, and 1 bathroom each. Some of them had these little living room areas. Halfway looking through these bungalows, I split off from Jackson because he was moving kind of slow. I tried to enter the building that looked to be the main hall or office or something, but every entrance was locked. I walkie-talkied Jackson to tell him that the big building was locked. He didn't walkie-talkie back. I wondered if I was out of range from where he was.
Definitely out of
2
range.
minutes later, I found myself at one of the 2 bathroom buildings. It was probably a 400 square foot building. There were no doors to the building though. It was unusual. It just had 2 big openings, one for the men's room, one for the women's room. I remember the signs being faded and worn out looking. Then I saw these red tracks on the dirty old concrete bathroom floor. Now I'm not going to sit here and say they looked like bloody footprints, but I couldn't explain what these red marks could be then.
Yeah, let's
and I
not
still
check
can't
it
say
out.
for certain now. Regardless, it was pitch black inside that bathroom around that corner, and that was the first building I was scared to enter. I tried walkie-talkieing to Jackson again, hoping he was in range this time. I pressed the button on the walkie and said, "Yo, where are you?" When I let go, I heard the beep sound that the receiving walkie makes after getting a message from inside the bathroom. It gave me a near heart attack. Then I thought Jackson must already be in there, hence the red-looking footsteps. I called his name, and it echoed into the bathroom. I was actually about to step into the bathroom thinking he was hiding from me, pranking me, when I heard Jackson's voice call out from the distance behind me, outside in the darkness of the night. I heard him getting closer. Couldn't see him in the dark, but he obviously saw my light, so I yelled back, "I found your walkie-talkie." I started stepping into the bathroom, but then he said back, "Don't go in there, I never went in there." This is when I turned around and hurried right out of there. I pressed and released the talk button really quick on my walkie, causing the beep again from inside that pitch-black women's room. Then began dashing in the direction we came.
Phone
We
call.
made it back to Route 209 and had to stop to catch our breaths. This is when Jackson told me that inside one of the bungalows he went into, he tried walkie-talkieing me, but I wasn't answering, meaning we must have been out of range. But then he heard a noise from the living area of the bungalow. As he turned around, his flashlight revealed an older woman almost running towards him. He dropped his walkie-talkie and flashlight and ran out from the bungalow. He ran in the dark and hid, refraining from making noise in fear of being followed. He hid for a questionable amount of time before looking around and seeing my flashlight across the field, over at the bathrooms. The most likely explanation to me was that some cracked-out drug addict was hiding or living in that abandoned bungalow and for whatever reason lunged at Jackson and picked up his walkie-talkie. What she was doing in that bathroom, who knows? Maybe drugs, maybe the bathroom in the bungalow didn't work.
Yeah, fuck that. I got no interest in searching for bungalows, looking for spooky places to visit. That's crazy. This is not the scary story I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some goofy ghost stories, like some dumb shit. You know, like Jeffrey Dahmer victims or something. No, I'm kidding. That's not stupid, but gosh, wrong video.